and it's like every part. They have every part on their website. You just can't find that with anything else. This is my Framework Laptop 13. Now, previously I had done a review of this laptop, but I've had it for quite a while since then, so I thought I would do a quick update video on this laptop. So at this point, it's been a little bit over a year since I did my review of this laptop, and since then I have used it for a lot of things. And frankly, I think, just the TLDR, this thing is amazing. I really like this laptop. So let's start off with a couple of the reasons I bought the laptop in the first place. I liked their philosophy, repairability, that's always a great thing. And then customizability, that's amazing. One of the best things about this laptop is the customizability. You can do whatever you want with it in terms of internals. They give you a few select internals, and you can choose from any of those. And really, it's great because you can pick what you want and leave out what you don't. And that's something that you don't get with a lot of laptops. You can customize I/O. They have these little cartridges that you can put in, and frankly, they're awesome. They work great. I have one of every card expansion slot except Ethernet because it was so expensive. But it's great to just be able to carry all of them around in my backpack and swap them out whenever I need them to. Basically, I have the ultimate connectivity laptop. If there's some proprietary something or if there's like DisplayPort on a projector and I need to connect to DisplayPort, I can do that now. And it's just fantastic. I really like that about this laptop. Another thing that I found I really like about this laptop is the Windows OS. Now, on most laptops that you buy from an OEM manufacturer like HP or whatever, you'll get a ton of bloatware on it. And one thing that's nice about this installation is you're the one installing Windows. So there's no bloatware. It's just what you put on it. It's just a basic copy of Windows. So, obviously you get whatever bloatware comes with Windows by default, but overall it is a fantastic Windows experience. And I had zero trouble with the Windows operating system on this device. So overall, fantastic Windows experience and much better than any other laptop I've ever tried. So in using this laptop for a little bit, what do I think about quality? Because that's a big thing. You obviously want it to last a long time, especially the chassis, since you'll probably not be replacing that for a good long time because you can replace the internals instead if you need more power. So how is quality? Overall, I think this is a really high quality laptop. It feels really premium. It's an aluminum chassis, I think, and it's super nice to hold. It's not too heavy. It's pretty good. The quality is pretty good. And, on the cartridges, they feel a little bit light and plasticky, but overall, they're pretty good too. And I imagine that they'll last quite a long time. If you're coming from something like a plastic gaming laptop or just a plastic laptop in general, this is going to feel like $1 million. This aluminum chassis, it just has a nice feel to it. Metal is always nice, and this is no exception. In terms of quality, of the finish is really nice too. I do have a couple scrapes on it already, but nothing too major. And the color is nice, and I think that it makes it look more premium than it might be. It looks kind of like an Apple device, and that's always something cool. But you have this gear, and I think the gear looks really cool. Because people look at it and they're like, wait a minute, that's not Apple, that's something else. And then they come up to me and they're like, what is that thing? And I tell them about it, and they're like, oh, that's really cool. So it's a conversation starter as well. And it looks good enough to start a conversation. It's not just some crappy, third-party, laptop. It feels really good. The other thing I've done with this laptop is some video editing. Obviously, I'm using CapCut, not like a crazy first-party type deal, but CapCut on here is really solid. Performance is really solid, and overall, it's been a really good experience video editing on this. I've had no problems basically video editing on here. Obviously, if you're doing crazy edits, it's going to be a little bit limiting, but you can put better CPUs in here now. Like I just have the base model 12th gen Intel, and overall it's been really good. Obviously, you've heard the rumors about 13th gen and 14th gen like exploding and stuff and overheating. Not a problem with 12th gen, so that's nice. And it's one thing that's really nice about the laptop is you can spring for older models. You can get older CPU combos with integrated graphics. And I like that because you can get a slightly cheaper laptop and you can get the CPU that you want exactly. You don't have to go for something that you don't really want. So that's another nice thing. But for performance, I would say it's been really good. Like I said, video editing has been good. I've also done some programming on here. Well, all of my programming on here. I'm in several college classes where I have to do programming. So this has been really good for that, and no trouble there either. The 32 gigs of RAM that I have in here, that's one thing that I wanted, has really helped me because I think my laptop would have crashed if I didn't have it at one point. I had a program running that had a memory leak, and yeah, it filled up like 31 out of 32 gigs before I stopped it. So it gave me a little extra time to stop the program before it filled up all my memory, which was great. So that is one nice thing about this laptop. You can choose what you want, and you don't need anything else. I've also been doing a lot of schoolwork on here, and I've had no trouble browsing the internet. It has a really fast internet connection, pretty much better than any other internet connection I've ever dealt with on a laptop. So that's been pretty nice. With some of the newer like AMD chips, you don't get as good a Wi-Fi card, I think. But fortunately, those are pretty easily replaceable on these. So if you do get a bad Wi-Fi card, I'm pretty sure you could replace it for some card that is better. So that is another nice thing. In my experience, the connectivity has been great. Had basically no issues. I know some people do have problems connecting to Wi-Fi, especially like at my school. People have trouble all the time with Wi-Fi, but I've never had any issues, so that's been really nice. The theme that's going on here is very few issues, especially for a laptop that's like from a startup company. It's really surprising that they can pull off such a good product, right off the bat. So yeah, I've been doing all my schoolwork, lots of multitasking, have video calls. The mic quality, it is better than it sounds in the video where I reviewed it. I know this for a fact because I have recorded videos for assignments and they have come out better than like 90% of other students. So that is a big bonus. The video and audio quality is really good. A few things that aren't as good about this is it does get a little bit loud when it's under full load and you have just tasks going on in the background. Even in like a Zoom call, it does start to wind up those fans in here and it can get pretty loud. But if you have some just like generally okay headphones, it'll be fine. Not too noticeable. It's not like a gaming laptop where it's going to spool up and sound like a jet engine, but it does make some noise when you are using it. Another issue that I've had is with the headphone jack. It has a built-in headphone jack here, and I have some headphones that are a little bit more sensitive, and there's a lot of static noise coming out of this headphone jack. I'm not entirely sure if that's an issue that's been solved since I purchased this one a year or two ago. But yeah, that wasn't ideal. So I do have the expansion card headphone jack, and I've just been keeping that in here, and it's much better. It does sound a lot better. So that's nice that it's something that you can, you know, deal with easily, but it does take up one of my 4 slots, so not ideal, but it does work. And I find that I don't really need to have all 4 slots all the time, so you know, and it's easy just to swap it out. So I can swap that out for something whenever I need something else. And in case you were wondering, this is my expansion slot setup for video calls. I have a USB-C for charging, a HDMI so that I can hook up another monitor if I need to, one USB-A. Sometimes I swap that out for an SD card, and my headphone jack, which is nice, but I already talked about it, so you guys get the gist on that. Also, I mentioned in the last video in the review that a year ago that the speakers, they were better than I thought they were, and I still agree with that. But they are pretty quiet. So if you need loudspeakers, then this is not it. You're gonna have to like hook up some external speakers. Like I had this playing in a classroom because the teacher needed, like, the audio wasn't working, so they wanted one of us to chip in, and this was just not cutting it. So some person with a MacBook came in and they totally showed me up, and that was embarrassing, but that's just kind of how this goes. It's not 100% perfect, but overall I would say it's pretty good for the use case that I need it. Sometimes it just doesn't have that extra little bit that would make it better. So opening it up, you can see I still have the gloss screen. I do actually think I would prefer the gloss screen because, I don't know, I just think it makes it look more premium. I've always liked gloss screens, so that's one thing. But the matte screen I've heard is pretty good if you want to spring for that one. I think it has a higher refresh rate and even higher pixel density or something. So you know, they're interchangeable. I can just replace this for a matte screen, so that's nice. But one thing about the screen is I'm pretty sure that this was bought after they changed the hinges out for the sturdier ones. But when I put it down, it still flops over. Like it goes flat, and it's annoying, but it's not a deal breaker at all. Like, I don't know. Several other laptops probably do that. It's kind of a loose hinge, not super sturdy. I mean, it'll stand up where you want it pretty much if it's set down, but if you're moving a lot, it's gonna flop. And the keyboard, I've heard people say mixed things about the keyboard. I, for one, think it's just fine. I probably type on it faster than I do any other keyboard, so it's a good keyboard. I think you can get up to full typing speed on it. I don't know, sometimes a numpad would be nice because there are some shortcuts that I could use. But, you know, there are ways to make up for that. I'm glad it has 2 control keys instead of a, what do they call it, Copilot button? Yeah, that's no good. And the fingerprint reader is a godsend. I do love the fingerprint reader. It's quite fast. And then the privacy shutters at the top as well. Those are nice because, you know, you want to have privacy, especially like dealing with school software. Sometimes they like to spy on you with the school software. And I just don't want to deal with that at all. So turn off the camera and the microphone completely unless you need it. And I think that's great. Hardware switches are fantastic. As for the trackpad, it has gotten a little bit better since I talked about it last. I feel like it's worn out a little bit. Dog's barking. And there's less weirdness on the left click. But it is still a little bit cheap feeling. I don't know. I do like the glass top and the click feels alright, but still not my favorite trackpad. I would prefer like 2 separate buttons or something over what we currently have. So if you've been keeping up with some of my videos more recently, you'll know that I've kind of had a falling out with personal computers. And this has been an exception to that rule completely. It is a somewhat DIY experience. And you have to put some knowledge into building one of these if you get the DIY edition. Obviously you can just go for the standard whatever edition, but then you don't get to pick what parts you want specifically. Like you can't mix and match as much. But I think this is like the ideal experience for someone that wants to get into PC building. It kind of helps you identify what some of the components are, SSD, you can see the CPU in there, the RAM, basically what you need to make a computer. And I think it's a really solid, like, I don't know, entry to building a computer, I guess. And if you want like streamlined, nice experience, this is what you should go for. And you know, that's the other thing. Despite this being a startup company, the drivers are perfect. I have had 0 driver issues with this thing. Despite it being a startup company, the Windows experience is better than any other Windows experience on a laptop. Despite this being a startup company, the build quality is fantastic. Despite this being a startup company, support is great. You can go and buy parts for this laptop whenever you need them. And it's like every part, they have every part on their website. You just can't find that with anything else. Even like a desktop PC, you're not going to find that level of support and like a single marketplace where you can buy everything you need for your device. So that's one thing I really like about this. It's really easy. It's super nice. It feels great. If you're a hardware enthusiast, it's good for you as well, because you can outsource your RAM if you want to. You can go deal hunting. You can make this cheaper than it is. And you can compare CPUs on their website, you know, the main logic boards. You can buy them from third parties. There's all sorts of possibilities with this, and I think it is the best form factor of a PC that you can buy. Framework laptop. Thank you for watching.